censored content that we put up on the channel a few days ago. So we're going to talk about today where that content can be found and what it really means when we're being censored. Hey everybody, Justin here. Welcome to Where's the Hope News, where we bring light to the darkness. Before we get started today, head on over to stillnessinthestorm.com/donate to support my work. Big Tech is trying to censor us with everything they got, hence this video. So it's really important that you help support us if you can, because we got a lot of awesome things coming and we need your support to make it a reality. You can also support our work by just sharing the content. We're shadow banned and censored constantly, and it really helps for you personally to use that word of mouth power to share it with the people that you think want to hear the information. So what happened? Well, I got a notification from YouTube saying that a video that we had uploaded last Friday was removed because it violated their community guidelines. I'm sure everybody here has encountered a content creator that has had their work censored. We also know that YouTube has these very hazy guidelines where they seem to change with the wind, and depending on what the issue is or the narrative that they're trying to push at that time, things could violate the guidelines in a moment's notice. We'll get to what that means at a deeper level in a moment. You can find that content on my alt-tech platforms, Rumble, Bitchute, and Gab.tv. Links in the description where you can sign up for that. The video that was censored is still on there and it's doing very well. I appreciate all the support and the feedback. So what I will probably do is maintain this channel and still post really cool stuff on here. To get the stuff that's going to get censored, you got to go to these alt-tech platforms. For instance, content that has been heavily censored is on a platform called edgeofwonder.tv, where I cover a lot of concepts that I think you'll probably be interested in. So I suggest you sign up for edgeofwonder.tv. Again, link in the description. There's a lot of cool stuff on there. I have a general update and address to my audience here. I run my website, Stillness in the Storm, where I share a lot of information. I also have the series Into the Storm, as I just mentioned. And so I've kind of got my hands on a lot of different projects, because the greater mission of the work I'm trying to do is to really inform the people and help us create a dialogue where we can share our ideas together in a way that we can form unity and work together to protect our rights, to safeguard our friends and family, and to expose the fraud and the criminals that are out there that are trying to take advantage of the people. So what is the mission? What is the purpose? You know, a lot of people share content on platforms for all sorts of reasons. I think the greater mission behind all of this work is that we need to use our voices and our minds to search for the truth, to find information that we think is valuable so that we can work together to protect our rights and to make the world a better place. And part of that involves exposing fraudsters and criminals. I mean, we're living in a world of deception, as I like to say, and the only way that we're going to be able to make the world a better place in that sense is if we all pool our resources together to try to share information. I really appreciate the feedback that you all have been giving me about these videos and what I've been trying to do in a somewhat new project. I share a lot of information on my site, Stillness in the Storm. As I mentioned, I share information on Into the Storm on edgeofwonder.tv, and I'm going to start sharing more information with all of you in a lot of different ways. I've been sitting on a ton of information, not to say that I'm some like master or anything like that, but I'm a guy who's been trying to figure out what the hell has been going on in this world for a long time. And because I kind of have an obsession with it, I have accumulated a lot of information. And I think it's very important for us as a people to work together to form unity around the core issues. And I think these core issues are our ability to seek for the truth. The truth is something we all are trying to figure out. We all want to know what the truth is. We all want to know what is true so we can avoid what is false, so that we can live the most productive, abundant lives possible. If we can join around that idea, there's a strategy involved here. The idea of sharing the truth is not something that's just like a black and white thing, because at a deeper philosophical level, sharing the truth is about sharing ideas, and ideas are themselves representations of reality, and those have to be transmitted through words. So that means there's a constant feedback, a give and take between somebody who's speaking and somebody who's listening. And the really best type of dialogue is a discourse where one person speaks and there's a feedback as to what has actually been heard, so that there can be a kind of quality check or a calibration between information transmitted and what is received. Ultimately, all truth sharing is the attempt to try to transmit ideas that one person has in their mind to another person's mind. Feedback from the person who's receiving helps the person who's speaking, because then they can adjust what they're saying so that what is said can better reflect what is being thought. And ultimately, this is something that the forces of darkness don't want, because the people that control our world, the people that are in power, they use deception, they use manipulation, and they use censorship, so we can't work together to protect ourselves and expose their fraud. Again, I really appreciate the honesty level feedback. Please give feedback about anything. Don't worry, I have a thick skin. You're not going to offend me. I'm still going to say what I think needs to be said, and I'm still going to share the truth as I understand it. So with all that being said, I want to address two things. I want to talk about censorship, and I want to talk about these YouTube guidelines. If the rules aren't clear, then you can't really be expected to act in accordance with the rules. Think about it in a musical analogy. If a bunch of musicians are trying to play music together and the band leader isn't giving clear instructions, then can they really be penalized for their lack of perfect performance? No, of course not. With respect to the YouTube guidelines, we have a rule set that is intentionally hazy. They don't want you to know what the true rules are, because if you did, then it would expose what they're really trying to do, which is they're trying to manipulate public opinion, and they're trying to maintain a very careful narrative, because a narrative ultimately is one of the ways that you can maintain a self-regulating and self-imposed slavery system. If you look at tyrannical governments throughout history, one of the ways that they maintain the compliance of the people is that people have to believe in some fashion in the narrative. They have to believe in some mythos that allows the people at the top to maintain control over the people at the bottom. A narrative is really important for this, and if you have people that are speaking the truth and are saying things that counter the narrative, then that's going to create a big problem for the people at the top. It's going to create a big problem for the people that are trying to maintain control through this narrative. So what makes a really good rule system? Well, it's one where the rules are abundantly clear, where they make sense, where they're coherent, which means there's no conflicting rules, and the rule of law applies to all equally and fairly. So given that definition about what makes a truly good and honest and fair system with respect to rules or the law, because the law is itself a set of rules, how do you know what we're dealing with right now? Well, at almost every level of society, you have a situation where you have rules for thee and not for me. You have rules that are hazy and unclear, and it's not like in life that you're taught at a very early age through your culture, through the education system, through the various methods that we use to interact with each other, what the clear rules are. The reason why is because there's a hidden set of rules and an agenda behind that the people who are in control of the situation are using that haziness, that ambiguity, so that they can maintain their corrupt power. When censorship is taking place because you're speaking a truth that is going to damage a malevolent narrative, then that censorship is itself the indication that your voice has power. And this is the silver lining. This is the hope within the seemingly dark situation that I'm describing here. It means that we are way more powerful than we often are led to believe. You know, even in the very deep conspiracy world, there's sometimes this idea that the people at the top are like all powerful and there's no hope, and you shouldn't try to do anything to try to use your voice or gain unity or even have hope that other people in power are potentially trying to do the right thing. Well, I think that's a bogus narrative. I think the truth is that our ability as beings endowed with mind, free will, consciousness, and ability to unify and work together means that we are way more powerful than we'd like to think. We should try to work together so that we can share our perspectives together, so that our combined perspectives can create a greater vision of the truth. And with that, we can create a force, a unity that the powers that be who are corrupt and malevolent cannot mess with. Because a house that is divided against itself cannot stand, but a house that is unified creates a sturdy foundation that cannot be shaken.